put on something on a woman's body has to rip it off. I thought that's the same thing, so I protested. And I was walking with a lot of Muslim women. And we were chanting, mein Körper, mein Recht auf Selbstbestimmung. And it was very loud and it was very empowering. And since then, I have less anxiety when I meet obvious foreign man and woman alike. I feel more comfortable wherever I go, and that's how I neutralized my own racism.
So it was not a question.
Okay. Go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah. I'd like to thank you very much for your analysis, and I might venture to add something to it, because in my mind, one reason for the deplorable...
Can you speak a little louder? We can't
Louder?
Louder.
Okay. Is it okay like this? Right. One reason for the very bad situation of the left in general is the issue of language. I feel that neoliberal conservatives have corrupted successfully the language by reinterpreting certain words. So, for instance, they talk about flexibility and they mean exploitation. And we can carry on this list forever and ever. On the other hand, they have succeeded in creating no-go words. I don't know the situation in France, but in Austria, you can kill successfully any discussion by just dropping the word class. That's the end of it, right? I don't want to hear that. So this is ideas of the 19th century. You can't cope with problems of the 21st century with ideas of the 19th century. Now, I feel that we have to fight for, to get our language back. We have to open the public's eyes to what has happened to our language. A full generation, this has been going on for 30 years now, a full generation has successfully been brainwashed into voting against their obvious interests. And all we can do is sit back and commiserate ourselves. And I think our role should be much, much more active. And a good start could be tackle the language.
I do agree with you. The battle is a battle about words, because words are the way we see the world around us. If you say class, social classes, you see the world in which they are social classes. If you don't pronounce this word, if you ban the use of this word in the public sphere, you change the word because you don't see the social class. I know when I published that book, a right-wing commentator said I was an old archaic Marxist in the 19th century and so on. And do you really think that there is not any more social classes? Where did you study? And do you want me to tell you where people in my family did study? And you compare what you were in the educational system and why working class people are in the... this is not the same educational system. So there is a division, class division. There are two educational systems, and at least two. But so there are classes, but if you cannot pronounce this, and we said I answered the question Isolde asked me a few minutes ago, saying that It is precisely because I use the word class, social classes, that this book has moved so many people, because this is exactly that, what I am, what I feel, what I was, what I come from, my difficulties with my own parents, and so this is, if you say class, you open a whole space for thinking, to see the world, to see what you are personally in the interaction of with your friends, with your family, and it's the word class, not only this word. So I was reintroducing the word class in the intellectual and political sphere, and you're right. We have to fight for defining ourselves, our words, and our discourses. But we are, as I can see, many people here, as it is also the same in Germany, in France, in Spain, are eager to redefine their own words, to reclaim their past, their struggle of the past, the meaning of the past, to reframe them, to rethink them, to confront the issues of our contemporary situation.
Didier, we have two more. We have 2 more questions. I would like to collect them because we are running out of time. So please, your 2 questions, please be quite short, and then we make a general answer, and then we finish.
Could you talk a little bit more about your experience with Trotskyism? What made you turn away from Trotskyism?
I thought a short question. Okay, and the other one?
It's not that short either, because I also wanted to thank you for your speech, but I have to disagree in a very important point, I guess, because you said there is no definition of the left. I think there is not, if you think on it on a basis like, is Werner Feynman a little bit more left than Christian Kern? He may is, but it's not the question of the left. The definition of the left was quite clear, I guess, in the 19th and 20th century, just to abolish a system where people are governed by a society which comes to them like nature. It was to overcome capitalism. This was a clear definition of the left. When we are staying here and say there is no definition anymore, then we are talking about a left that was declined, that lost the fights of the past, but we are not talking about the left or the not existence of a definition of this.
Well, yes, I understand your disagreement. It's always difficult to say that we don't have a definition of the left, because I know that some people have a definition, and it's important to be committed to the struggles, to the movements, to have a definition. But I would add that this definition will always be by other people. And so there is no definition, because the one you gave, I know a lot of people object to this definition. I don't have time to develop, but some people who consider themselves as left-wing and left-wing thinkers or left-wing activists would not share exactly your definition, or would add some other part to your definition. And this allow me to answer very quickly to the question about my Trotskyism. I was a Trotskyist because I wanted to be a revolutionary student, and I stopped to be a Trotskyist because there was no space for me in Trotskyism as a young gay. And this is exactly the same question of the definition of the left. They had a definition of the left in which I could not find myself at ease, and what I was was a part of their discourse. And not renounce to be gay in order to be a Trotskyist, so I renounce to be a Trotskyist in order to be gay.
I heard that we have one more question, so this was really the last one. Well, I can't see it. Where is it?
I hide myself behind the wall.
Behind the wall. So please, come on.
Okay, should I come up?
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
we would like to see you.
I cannot see
I can see you.
Okay.
In which
Hello.
room are you?
Here I am.
But how many rooms are there?
First, I want to comment on the first comment.
And
But
second,
only
it should be a short question.
because it's
Yeah, I
supposed
know.
to be a short question.
So when you start with
Do I
first-
sound like I'm talking long?
Yes.
No. I'm not that.
Okay, start.
Take your time. Sorry.
Actually, you gave already kind of a thesis on the notion of identity politics, and that is important to give that an importance and to recognize it. Otherwise, we will go to fascism. Some kind of. If we ignore identity politics or notion of race, some would be also then, I think, part of. I would understand it like that. And I think this question, the first question, was kind of only possible to ask of a white position. I did not see the person, but I think that is only possible to ask from a white person's perspective. And that is already giving kind of an answer for me. And what I wanted to ask is actually connected to that also somehow. How do you see the notion of class connected to other things like race, gender, or ability? Is that a separate thing, or is that is class overall that, and
Okay.
race is inside that? And
I think we got the point.
So, I guess I don't have that much time to answer your very difficult question. But I would say that when I say if you ignore it's fascism, when you ask people to renounce to what they are in order to be part of a community ground only on the nation, on the soil, on the belonging of the nation. So it is fascism, but I don't accuse people who are objecting to identity politics to be, all of them, fascist, of course. The question you raise is, of course, if you want to speak about this issue, you arrive very quickly to separate the different movements, the working class movement, the feminist movement, the black movement, and so on. But of course, in the reality, all of this movement and all of this personal or collective situation are intersecting. Working class are working men, but also working women. And my close friend, the American historian John Scott, wrote a wonderful essay a long time ago criticizing E.P. Thompson's famous book on the formation of the English working class. And where her critics of this great book by the E.P. Thompson, but his notion of class is a masculine notion of class. The definition he gave of a social class, it's not that he didn't want women, but the definition he gave was a masculine because he did not take into account what, for example, women did during a strike, during a demonstration, which may be completely different from what men do, but it is also part of the movement. And there were also literary circles, religious circles, religious sects, and so sects. And so her critique of E.P. Thompson is that you cannot speak about working class without taking in account that there are women in the working class, which change completely the notion of class that E.P. Thompson framed in his book. It's true for I take this example, but it's true for so many examples. I'm white. I'm a working class, the son of a working class milieu. I'm gay. I'm an academic. I'm a writer, and so I have multiple identities. So I'm fighting in my country against the demolition of the academic system by neoliberal politics. I'm fighting because I'm gay. I fought for gay rights, for the right for gay marriage and so on, against conservative forces. And I went to demonstration against the socialist law demolishing the Code du Travail, the welfare state, in last May when the Socialist Party sent us the riot police and the tear gas. And so we are not one person. We are at the intersection of different historical determinations, sociological determination, political determination and commitments. It can change during your life. So this is why there is no definition of the left, because you never know what you will do, and you never know what you will have to do, what you will be asked to do. If I'm invited by a transgender association, maybe 20 years ago, I wouldn't have thought that I would be invited by a transgender association to have a discussion with them. If they do invite me, I go. And this is a new movement in the left, and I cannot tell them, you are not part of the left. It's not up to me to decide, and I have to welcome them, opening our mind to other issues which were ignored until now. But I'm afraid I have to stop.
I think we should keep this as the last word, opening our minds to other issues. Thank you for your attention.
This is exactly the summary. Keep our mind open.
Merci, Didier.
Merci. Merci beaucoup. Merci. Merci.